What's up, everybody? Welcome to Real Combat MMA Radio. My name is Tercilio Cruz from Brazil, and I'll be opening up the show today since I got all my picks UFC Sweden right, going 5-0 overall. We have our official host, Hector Gomez from the US, and Ben Capocci from the UK. So now, back to you, Hector.
You know what? Tercilio is absolutely right, and it was a great bang-out show that the UK did. And actually, Dana White was absolutely correct when he said that everybody kind of threw this one under the thing without giving it a chance. But before we go into that, I'm going to roll a little commercial. But before that, let me tell you who our guests are today. Today's guest will be Hawn, Bellator fighter. And we also have another Bellator fighter. We have Doug the Rhino Marshall, who just won $100K for the grand tournament for the lightweight division. He's going to be fighting, what's his name?
Alexander Chelemenko.
So he'll be fighting him. But first, let's get these commercials started so we can start our news. Here we go, people. Buckle up. Let's do the commercials and then back to the news. This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started. This is Hector again, and holy snikes, we cannot get rid of this fighter, Fox Fallon, coming out of people's mouths. Now, this famous transgender fighter has created another stir in the UFC, that being that Matt Mitrione is now temporarily suspended from the UFC till further notice because of the racially explicit way that he spoke about this fighter, and this is our main news. Matt Mitrione was, in a rampant hurry to finish the fights, which we'll talk about how he did in spectacular fashion, but in the end, his mouth kind of cost him his career in the UFC. Tercilio, what do you think about this news?
Well, I was actually listening to the interview. It was on the MMA Hour yesterday. Like I said on the last show, I don't agree with having her fighting other women because she's obviously been a male her whole life and took a lot of substances to turn into a female. But it's not a human thing. It's actually like I don't know if you can call it like a lab product, So like I said on the last show, the right thing, if it would happen, it would be to have a division just for those kind of fighters. So it would be a fair thing because neither a man, like you said, neither a man wouldn't want to get beat by a woman that used to be a man, or neither a woman would want to fight another woman that now that used to be a man also to get in disadvantages. So I agree with Mitrione, but not the way that he speaks his mind. I agree with what he believes in. That it's exactly not having her as a fighter to compete against other women. But the way that he said it was really it's not the right way to say it, especially when you're saying in a big MMA show. And I mean, he obviously was supposed to talk about his fight over the last weekend and about the struggles that he was going after the Roy Nelson loss, and then when he got on the Mitrione minute that he's famous for saying a lot of funny things, then he just went off on her. And I mean, I feel bad for him because I mean, I think he got caught in the heat of the moment. He got hyped. I don't know what happened, but obviously that cost him really hard.
Yeah, Ben, what did you think about his? Do you think? I think it was absolutely inappropriate the way. I think I stated it to Ben. It's not the way. It's not what he said, but the way he said it is what basically did him. You know, and his contract. He had a breach of contract. I mean, I guess with these contracts, they cannot speak in a racial or sexist way about people because they can get cut. Angel Torres this is all over again, like Angel Torres.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
what do you think?
Yeah. Well, we all know Mitrione. He says on the Mitrione minute, he sort of writes a few jokes and he tells these jokes, and usually they are quite close to the line. And I think this time he just overstepped the line. He was kind of making some good points, but the way he was stating the points were not fair at all to sort of Fallon Fox. He was constantly referring to her as a him. Yeah, she started off as a guy, but now she wants to be known as a she. She's, had the sexual organs removed from that. And even Joe Rogan said on his show, he doesn't agree with her being in MMA, but he will still call her ma'am. He will still do what she wants to do. But Mitrione refused to do that. And, I got a quote here. He said, "That's a lying, sick, psychopathic, disgusting freak," referring to Fallon Fox. I thought a quote like that was, definitely unfair. She wasn't on the show to defend herself. He just shot her down, and so it made some really unfair comments when he was actually making some decent enough comments saying, he could have just said that he didn't agree with her being there or that, but it was the way, like Hector said, it was the way he said it that obviously the UFC didn't agree with, and they don't like that kind of behavior.
You can see that he has an absolute bigotry against any transgender or, lesbian, gay, anybody who, has a sexual preference or the sexual desire to become another gender that they weren't at once. That being said, Dana White for years has tried to support the UFC of saying, you know what, we don't care if you're gay, we don't care if you're lesbian, we want fans to watch it. It doesn't matter what you look like, what ethnicity, anything. It's just you guys being a fan. And that kind of coming out of Mitrione's face, he's representing the UFC at the same time. He is the UFC employee when he's saying that. And so that is a huge repercussion. And I personally don't blame Dana White for go ahead and, suspending him, which I know for certain is probably going to be an indefinite, but just an ending career for him in the UFC.
You think that he's going to get cut?
Yeah, I think he's going to get cut. Absolutely, because you have fighters like Liz Carmouche, who's openly a lesbian fighter, who Fallon Fox is not. She's a transgender, but at the same time, you have all these gay national alliances and all these stuff and that and everything else. And they're already fine-combing and tubing UFC, waiting for any kind of response from these fighters. And Matt Mitrione basically gave it to them to say, this is what you represent. It doesn't represent that at all, but it leaves a distinct on the, and I agree that Mitrione got cut. I wouldn't blame Dana White. The sad thing, though, when we saw the UFC fight and he fought, when he knocked out his opponent, he said, I needed this. I'm sorry. I needed this, because he knew he was going to get cut. But now, him opening his mouth the way he did, he got cut anyway. So it's a loss for him as well.
Yeah, and he was speaking, he was screaming after the win, like, I have 3 kids, And I mean, obviously it was the last fight that he lost. It was supposed to be a humbling experience for him, so he wouldn't keep talking whatever came up to his mind. I mean, but no, right when he got onto the show, he went off. I mean, just going nonstop. And actually, Dana White already he has his take on the Mitrione situation. Did you see what he said?
Yeah, I saw what he said, and he I don't think he was not happy at all, and he stated it might cause a repercussion for us because we're always trying to get fighters and stuff. And he's saying that now fighters shouldn't even be doing interviews unless they're promoting a fight. That's what he's saying. So I don't know if there's going to be a clause for the UFC now saying they can't be on any show unless they're promoting an upcoming fight. If they're not on a fight, they shouldn't be long doing any interviews anyways.
Well, yeah, on the MMA Hour yesterday, Scott Jorgensen, he said that he only did the MMA Hour because the UFC had asked him to. Because he said he was tired of answering the same questions over and over to the media. And I think, obviously, the UFC asked him to do the show because it's one of the biggest shows in the internet and because he has a fight coming up this weekend. Because if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have requested, obviously.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are tired sort of doing the same questions over and over again, but that's when they've got an upcoming fight. So when you interview them when they haven't got an upcoming fight, they're more relaxed and they can talk about more things that they're interested in, and you can get to know them a bit more personally because they're not bored with these same questions. So it's kind of a shame they do put some kind of rule on it, or if Dana does suggest to the UFC fighters not to do interviews unless they've got an upcoming fight, right?
Yeah, but in Mitrione's case, even if if he has a fight coming up tomorrow, or like he does, or if he even doesn't have a fight schedule, he will talk about other things the same way. The thing is now he's got to sit back. I mean he's got to learn. He's got to look at everything in another way.
Yeah, I think because he's not been pulled up for things that he said before, like that Mitrione minute, he does say some jokes that when I'm listening to that, a few weeks ago, he says some things that I can't believe he doesn't get in trouble for. So I think now he's learned that he can't just say these things with all these people listening because, some will take offense.
Yeah, well,
and I like to think of the MMA community as like quite an open community, and then having something like that kind of stereotypes, cage fighters that are, sexist and everything.
And that's not even the point with a lot of these people that are cage fighters. A huge percentage of them are college-educated people. And so somebody saying that kind of stuff kind of brings back this mentality that they're not educated people at all. I mean, like, a good example is Chuck Liddell, went to Cal Poly University, has a degree in accounting and stuff. So him kind of doing this really does a backlash on fighters as well, thinking that all still that macho kind of, grunt fighter or warrior that really doesn't care about anything else. So, Matt Mitrione really did put a disdaining taste on everybody, and I think the great example of stuff like that is Rashad Evans. Rashad Evans used to have they used to kind of watch him very carefully because I don't remember if it was what was the last fight he had with Mr. Wonderful. What's his name? Phil Davis.
Phil Davis.
And he said he was gonna out wrestle him and show him what a real wrestling was, like Joe Paterno did to the kids. And that was his joke, and everybody kind of gasped and like, oh crap, what's going to happen now because of that joke? And I think Dana White really just got on him and kind of warned him about it. But that could have been a ending career statement as well because that was a hot issue. I don't know if you guys remember the whole Paterno thing with Penn State, and so Rashad Evans tried to do some kind of joke like that because I think Phil Davis came from Penn State University.
Yeah, and there was a press conference before the fight that Phil Davis came with a Penn State shirt. Remember?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's not the first time that a fighter's done this. I mean, like Angel, I spoke about Angel Torres, who was Miguel Angel Torres, who was once a UFC fighter and got cut for the same reason that he used a rape joke about a van and then he got cut.
Same with Forrest as well, but Forrest didn't get cut. Dana just said that he spoke to him about it because Forrest tweets as well some quite stuff that's, you know, a bit close to the edge. And and Dana did say, like, he's been warned about the things he says on, you know, Twitter and that. So, you know, a lot of fighters do. I think it's just the way that Mitrione kind of said it, just so out there and live. You know, he couldn't say that, you know, he meant a different thing, because you saw so clearly what he meant.
And it exactly wasn't like on Twitter where it was 160 characters and that was it. He continued bashing this poor individual, you know, for quite a bit amount of time. And so that kind of left it as well, where the damage was done. I mean, if he would have said something a little bit and then he would have apologized, but he hasn't even apologized. I think he shut down his Twitter account. He hasn't responded on Facebook. There's no public apology again about it. So, you know, where does that leave him? I mean, if he does leave, is the World Series of Fighting even want to take somebody like that who's kind of risky?
Yeah.
And it was... Yeah, go on, Ben.
I was just going to say that the way that it was unfair is sort of, it's happened, okay? Like, Fallon Fox, she's had that sex change. There's no way that she can turn it back. So to get absolutely slammed for it, like, I don't know what Mitrione was trying to achieve.
Well, it just kind of shows the disdain that he has for those type of people. And that's really unfortunate because, you know, I think our panel agrees that we treat everybody the way they treat us. I don't care about what you look like, what your orientation, what country you're from, if you're a transgender, if you're gay or anything else. If you're a nice person, I'm going to treat you like a nice person. And unfortunately for Matt Mitrione, he doesn't have that civility to being that nice to people.
Well, yeah, the thing is, everybody has their opinions on anything. Everyone will have a different opinion in 90% of the time. But the thing is, you have to respect even the way that you think about anything. If you want to say it publicly, if you want to say a bad thing about it publicly, at least you have to say it like a respectful way. I mean, if he doesn't agree with it, just say in a way that I just don't like it. I don't agree with it. And I mean, that's it. Not start going off and making jokes and stuff, you know.
Yeah. So let's move off the subject because I think we've talked about it for every single episode. It just keeps slipping. It just keeps coming in because it's a popular topic and people will click and download and listen to it when they put it up and post. I mean, that's what it is. I mean, it's the same thing with politics. When nobody wants to know what's going on with the government, they'll bring up those kind of issues to kind of erase everything else. So let's talk about the other thing. Now people are stating that Invicta wasn't as successful as people as Ustream had said, because I guess they don't release the numbers. So now they're stating that Invicta, you know, I guess Ustream played like a thing where we really don't know how many people actually downloaded and bought the fight. So they're like saying, well, how can it be popular if we don't even know? And a lot of people are still against, I guess, the people that are still against women fighting. They're saying it probably wasn't even that popular. That's why they didn't want to announce it. I need to disagree. I completely disagree with that one because, you know, I saw the fight, and from top to bottom, you had, 13 bouts that were spectacular.
Yeah, and it had a cyborg, obviously, a really big name. Sarah Kaufman, former Strikeforce fighter, and obviously the champions.
Yeah, this one was hard to pick for me. I mean, I watched both events. I watched UFC on Fuel, and I watched Invicta. And I'm actually going to have to say I'm going to give it to Invicta for actually packing on a great show. I mean, UFC was good, and it was right there up next to them. But for I guess for the bang for the buck kind of thing, $9 gets you 13 bouts. 13 from over here. It started from 4 p.m. all the way to almost 10 o'clock. These fights were going on, and each one was like a former or new star rising. So everybody kind of knew each one of these fighters, and they tried to put their best in one huge show, and it worked. The quality, the video, everything else had changed completely, and it made it into a huge event, even bigger than where they were fighting at. And it seemed like they kind of brought the old Strikeforce kind of introductions and everything else, and it It was a great show to watch, and for $9.
Mhm. I'm kind of jealous that I didn't manage to watch it live, but I caught a few of the fights after the live event, like on YouTube and that, and I really enjoyed them. I've never seen Invicta live all the way through before, but I'll definitely be trying to catch the next event.
Yeah, well, hopefully hopefully they're catching people's eyes, and Showtime's still looking for an MMA venue to go ahead and promote, and I don't see anything wrong with Showtime or any of these major companies picking up Invicta.
Yeah, even Spike itself. I mean, since they already have a Bellator, I mean, why not have a women's MMA also?
Well, I don't think they could have it there because of the huge Zuffa thing, because they are kind of the sister branch of the UFC, and Spike and
well, yeah, but they're not Zuffa. I mean, they are kind of they have a thing with the UFC, but it's nothing like official,
But I think if they would do it out of respect for them.
Yeah. Who knows? But just not going back, but going back at the same time really fast on the Fox Fallon thing. The thing about her still pending approval, it's a really unknown situation, because she already has a fight. Her fight is scheduled for it's in 11 days. It's April the 20th, and she still hasn't got the license. So no response yet from the commission. So
you know what? We're going to be talking about Cyborg in a couple minutes. First, I'd like to remind you guys that you're listening to Real Combat Media MMA Radio. This is brought to you by RealCombatMedia.com. We have the training masks. We have On It on the banners. Click on them. Click on the On It one. What's cool about it is any pills like Alpha Brain, Shroomtech, and Hanford protein. Any of those, you put the promo code Real Combat Media and you'll automatically save 10% off that checkout. But we're going to talk about Cris Cyborg. We have our own little moment for her. We're going to talk about that. At 7:30, we're going to go ahead and call Rick Hawn into the show. And then at 8 o'clock, we're going to have Doug Marshall on the show as well. So it's a Bellator night of interviews. And you know what? I give kudos to Bellator, because Bellator has been nothing but nice to us, and so has the World Series of Fighting. So, thank you guys very much for those fighters out there. And so let's talk about other things that are going on in the UFC news for a little bit before 7:30 hits. And did you see any more news going on right now?
Oh, well, there was the Ross Pearson pre-fight injury.
Oh yeah,
but it was not a real injury. I mean, he thought he broke his foot warming up, but he posted on Twitter it was just swelling, and the swelling on the other day was already going off, so it was nothing serious.
Well, let's talk
I saw that too. He was it was when he was back in the locker room, and he said the very first kick that he threw on the pads, his foot landed on his trainer's elbow, and like straight after that one kick to the pads, he thought he might have broken his foot, and that was a part that I really expected. That I was really impressed by the way that he didn't bring it up to anyone, he didn't tell anyone, he just got on with the fight and waited till after the fight to say about it. Where other fighters may have sort of been moaning or complaining that they had a broken foot, or said that they want to try and like pull out the match quickly in case it's broken. But Ross Pearson, being the star he is, just sort of got on with it and didn't say anything to afterwards. Unfortunately, it's just very swollen and bruised, but he didn't break his foot.
Yeah, for people that don't know as well, it looks like recently about 3 in the afternoon PM over here, Dana White confirmed that Dan Hardy will be removed from the Fox 7 card against Matt Brown. I guess they found a heart condition, and they're not sure if they'll be able to fight because of the heart condition. Looks like he's going to get a second opinion. I guess he still wants to fight, but this fight's going to be probably scrapped for another venue or another time. I don't see anything about Matt Brown actually wanting to have a replacement. So I think I wish nothing but the best for Dan Hardy, and I hope hope it's not a huge issue with his heart condition. I hope everything's fine for him.
Yeah, Yeah, Dan Hardy's been very unlucky. I do feel sorry for him. He just started to sort of get back on track, get back on his winning ways, and then this heart condition comes up. I think he's had this heart condition for a while now, and it's affected him a few times in training and that. But I think now it's become more serious than it sort of ever was before. So he's had to actually, pull out of this fight and have something done about it, like possibly surgery or something. But I do feel sorry for him, just starting to get back on his winning ways, starting to get a bit of speed behind him, and the fight against Matt Brown would have been a huge deal if he had won that fight. So
yeah, so
kind of a shame.
The condition that they said he has is called Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, and what this happens is it gives you an irregular heart palpitations during normal or just normal. You can be sitting or standing, and all of a sudden your heart rate will just increase out of nowhere. And I guess the most extreme case, but it rarely happens, is a heart attack, a cardiac arrest, because of the heart palpitations going so fast in a relaxed state. So they said that he might need heart surgery to fix this, but then they want a second opinion just to verify that he doesn't need this condition, this heart surgery. This is kind of a serious thing. This could be a make or break for Dan Hardy. If he has open heart surgery or has any heart surgery at all, I can guarantee that they will not allow him, the Athletic Commission will not allow him to come back and fight ever again.
Well, yeah, I don't know how this commission, like Dana White said it, because he obviously fought in the U.S. a lot of times, and this commission is very well known. So and it had a lot of fights already in California. He doesn't know how they let him. They actually thought it was an advantage for him. The story behind it was that they thought it was an advantage for him, and he got really mad for it, and even changed his Twitter handle to Wolfhard and all kinds of stuff. And actually, the fight with Matt Brown, it had a replacement for him. It's Jordan Main. Remember he fought Dan Miller, and he beat Dan Miller in UFC 158. He was from Strikeforce, a really great kickboxer. It was a really fun fight with Matt Brown.
Yeah, it will.
Yeah, so
and then Hardy gave an interview to the MMA Hour last week, and he said, he said that he doesn't know if the commissions will approve in the future or not, but he said that he's already looking for another things to do if he's not able to continue in MMA because of the commission. And he said that maybe if it is, he thinks that it's like a sign, for him it's time for him to quit.
I don't for the commission saying that would be an advantage for them. I think that's absolute idiocracy from them from even thinking something like that. That's why he got so pissed off. Yeah, because as much as he's lost and win, and he kind of goes back and forth, he's been one of my favorite fighters to watch because this guy goes out to bang. He just goes out swinging. There's no conservatism of his fighting style. He likes to fight. He likes to stand up and throw those haymakers that he likes to do. And one of his funnest fights that I've seen was with and it was a short fight, was with Condit. I hope everything goes well for him. I think everyone here on the panel hopes him the best and speedy recovery, and hopefully everything's fine and we get to see him back in the cage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, we hope as well.
All right, so this comes to our first half hour of the show is done. So we're gonna go ahead. Let me do this. Any little news segments or anything else while I get our caller ready? Our caller is going to be Rick Hawn from Bellator, and he's going to be calling. We're going to be calling him in a bit. Let me just gather my magical contact book of fighters, and we're going to go ahead and give him a call. Let me see. So somebody want to say anything? Well, what did you think about, we'll talk about Latif after a while. Hold on, let me just dial him and let's see what's going on right now. And I believe it is Ben's turn for questioning, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce the fighters. Ben will take first lead, then it'll be Tercilio, and then we'll just kind of fill in after that. Here we go.
Hello?
Hello, is this Mr. Hawn?
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Hawn. This is Hector from Real Combat Media MMA Radio. Thank you very much for picking up the phone.
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm here. I have Tercilio Cruz from Brazil as part of he's my co-host, and then on our co-panel, we have Ben Capocci from the UK. We're going to be bothering you for just maybe 15 minutes, asking you a couple questions. First of all, I'd like to congratulate you on your spectacular win against Karo Parisyan last Thursday. That was one of the funnest fights in that Bellator event that I saw.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it was a good fight and had a great result, and yeah, I was very pleased with that. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw that they had a little bit of they have the little segments into the show and everything else, and it looked like Karo Parisyan had some kind of beef with you. Was that more of the hype of the fight, or was there some real disliking from Karo Parisyan towards you?
Well, we both never really liked each other. We kind of just had beef, I guess you would call it. As long as I've known him, I've never really been a big fan of his. I never really liked him too much. He just rubbed me the wrong way. We used to compete in judo together, 10, 12 years ago, and he just was someone that I didn't really get along with, and that was pretty much it. So, it was legitimate. Yeah, we didn't really don't really care for each other. So
there was a satisfactory of basically having a win against him, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It was it's all said and done now, but yeah, it was definitely it felt good to get that win over him.
All right. So this is Ben Capocci from the UK. Go ahead, Ben, with your first question.
Hi, Rick. Just wanted to say again, congratulations on a huge knockout win and a great fight against Karo Parisyan. I was just wondering how it felt to be back at welterweight after you've gone, from welterweight to lightweight, back to welterweight again. Will you be sticking at welterweight, or do you think you're going to drop down to lightweight again?
No, this was just a one-off thing. I wanted to fight on that card, and they couldn't find anyone at 155 for me to fight, so I agreed to take that fight at 170 just for this one time, and just to stay active and get in the ring and stuff. And yeah, I'll definitely be going back to lightweight my next few fights, or the rest of my career, I should say.
Yeah, well, how did you find that the cut to lightweight? Is obviously it's a lot easier to do welterweight, but is the lightweight cut easy enough for you?
Yeah, I've got it down pretty good now. It's never easy. It's never fun, but I have a good nutritionist that I work with, George Lockhart, and he has me on a good program. So it's not easy, but it's definitely obtainable, and I can I'm getting it figured out better each time.
Nice, great. So that was your 10th knockout win against Karo Parisyan, and coming from an original judo background, as you mentioned earlier, do you think that having a judo background helps your striking? A lot of wrestlers, they feel like they're best strikers because they feel confident enough that if someone was to grab onto them, they'd be able to keep the fight on the feet. Is that kind of the same with you, that you feel you can let your hands go without worrying too much about being taken down?
I don't really think about it that way. I really, because of my background with judo, I focus mostly just on striking. So, for my career starting, 4.5 years ago, with MMA, I just focused on striking, just because I knew that was going to be my weakest part, my weakest link. So, obviously, I have been taken down before by wrestlers and stuff. So, it does usually have to be wary with wind striking, but I think I just really focus on my striking, and I want to make it be as good a striker as I can be.
Well, like you mentioned, just only being in MMA for 4 years, How was it, sort of the transition over from doing like judo competitions over to MMA fighting and winning your first fight by knockout?
Yeah, it's been a good transition. The grappling part was pretty easy to get used to. The clinching part I felt very comfortable with, but like I said before, the striking was the hardest part. So I really focused mostly on getting my hands better and trying to just be well-rounded in the MMA game.
Brilliant. Well, do you know what's going to be next for you in MMA then? Have you got another fight planned, or are you looking to be? What card are you looking to be on next?
I'm not sure yet. They have a summer series Bellator does, and possibly maybe get one fight on there. But I believe they have the next lightweight tournament is going to be in September, October sometime. So I know I'll definitely be on that one.
And are you back to training already, or just sort of having a week off?
Yeah, I'm gonna take the week off. I'll start back up next week probably, and stay in shape at least. I don't want to get too out of shape, and just want to stay active and over the summer, and just in case I do have a fight in the summertime, I want to make sure that I'm obviously well prepared for it.
All right, brilliant. Well, I'll save some questions for the co-host Tercilio. So Tercilio, if you want to go ahead and ask Rick some questions. Thanks, Rick.
Okay. What's up, Rick? Congratulations once again on your victory. It was a really impressive victory. It looked kind of easy for you, obviously. But what do you think? You did wrong on that Mike Chandler fight. What do you think went wrong? Did you feel like one of those fights that when you finish the fight, man, I know I can beat that guy. Just give me one more shot.
I made a mistake. I just got caught, and he's someone that you can't really make any kind of mistake with because he'll capitalize, and that's what happened. But it was definitely one of those things that knowing that I made a mistake, that if I got a chance to fight him again, I think things could be different. I'm not saying that I would win, but it would definitely be more of a competitive fight. So I'm looking forward to getting back in the tournament and hopefully win, and then get another shot at the title against him, and hopefully do it better this time and make it more of a fight and possibly win. So definitely know I could do it better than I did last time.
So now so you're obviously going back to lightweight. So now how is it gonna be? You're gonna start from zero, like you know what I mean? Like you get on the tournament again and you have to fight the tournament again to challenge for the title, or since you have challenged already, probably if you had like one big fight, you would get the rematch.
No, I have to go back to the tournament again. So I think in September or October is the next tournament, and I have to win that, and then I'll get the shot to fight for the title.
Oh, so and how about how long do you train jiu-jitsu?
About 4 or 5 years now.
And judo?
Judo about 23 years.
Oh, 23. Yeah, exactly. Because I know a lot of fighters that get their transition to MMA on the grappling when they have a judo background. They have a really smooth transition, but a lot of fighters they don't. They're only good on the stand-up game with the grappling stand-up, to take the guys down or to hold them down. But you obviously look very good in all aspects. You only have 2 losses on your record, and it looks like obviously that when you lose the last time that you lost to Jay Heron in the split decision, you came out like a beast. You won the tournament and you challenged for the title. So I hope after this loss and you obviously beat Carl Parisian, that you come back, you win the tournament, and you have a great title fight. And I hope for the good outcome.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's my goal, and that's the plan. So hopefully things work out in September, and I can win that tournament again.
Okay, thanks. I'll send it over to Hector again.
Hey, Rick. Quick question for you. With Bellator and the tournament style that they do, it looks like you have to compete on almost about every 4 months. That leaves a very little time for healing. So you always kind of have to be on top of your skills and being very careful of injuries. I know a lot of fighters say that they're never 100% injury free when they come into that. How do you prepare for, especially going into a tournament style where you have very little time of healing?
Well, it just depends. Sometimes you're lucky and you don't get injured. Like my last tournament, I had 2 quick wins by knockout in the first 2 rounds, so I didn't get injured. But overall, it's just a long training camp preparation for that. Training 3 months before your first fight, basically, or 10, 12 weeks. So it's definitely takes a toll on your body. So you have to really manage your training and your recovery time. Recovery is very important. Make sure that you're able to sustain that and stay at a top condition and compete at a top level.
You know how you're saying that you fight at lightweight. What weight do you usually walk around when you're not competing, and how hard or how good or how hard is the transition of cutting that weight for you?
It's not that hard. I have it down pretty good now. I walk around about 185, 180, in between that. So it's just about diet and eating the right things, and then obviously all the training that I do makes the weight come up a little easier.
All right, so I'll give you one more question, then I'll go ahead and let you go. The name Genghis is your nickname. Is that just a word on play kind of thing, or who gave you that name?
Yeah, it's kind of word on play. It kind of sounds like Genghis Khan. So some guys on Twitter started to call me that, and it stuck. And I decided I would just use that and stick with it because it sounded pretty good.
All right. Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you very much for coming on the show. I greatly appreciate it, Rick. Right now, if you have any things that you're doing or where people can find you, where can people follow you and see what's going on in your life?
Yeah, I'm on Facebook athlete page at Rick Hawn. Also on Twitter at Rick Hawn MMA.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time, Rick. You have safe training, and hope to see you very soon in the ring again.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good one, Rick.
Best of luck in the future, Rick.
Thank you.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was Rick Hawn from Bellator, lightweight 155 fighter who fought Carl Parisian at 170 last week, defeated Carl Parisian in that fight. Also, I think we just have, spoiler alert, Ben Capocci said, Uriah Hall and Kevin Gastelman will be the Ultimate Fighter finale fighters on this Saturday's card. Super excited. Uriah Hall is like a phenomenal beast right now in the Ultimate Fighter, and can't wait to see that. First of all, we're going to go into a commercial, then we're going to talk a little bit about Cris Cyborg and her spectacular comeback into mixed martial arts. So let's just roll the commercial, and then we'll go ahead and talk for a few about Miss Cyborg. This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products online on the online store, and click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started. All right, once again, we just finished having a little interview with Rick Hawn from Bellator 155, saying that he's going to go ahead and start competing back in the tournament to go ahead and try to get Michael Chandler to go ahead and get that title belt once again, or actually compete for the title belt. On Friday, we had Invicta 5. Big news, it wasn't the main card, but Christina Cyborg Santos competed in this one against the unknown, I think it's Maria Muxlor. And she came out in spectacular fashion, showing that she is, once again, one of the big people, and she will be competing for the belt this summer. Tercilio, what did you think about this fight?
Well, I was actually talking about it with you last week. Not actually last week, about 2 weeks ago, about her. She was itching to fight. She was training so hard. There were a lot of video blogs that came out of her training. It showed her hitting a bag. It was some nasty ground and pound. And in the fight, she just ran over what's her name? Fiona Muxlow. Muxlow, yeah. She just ran over her. She didn't have any chance, but she would even grab a Cyborg's leg, and Cyborg wouldn't even try to stuff a takedown. She would just hammer fist her and pull her leg, and then when Fiona would stand up, she would just start hitting her again. She just ran over her, and I think her fight with Marlos Kunin that is set for July. They don't have a specific date yet, but it's gonna be in July. It's for the featherweight championship. I'm picking Cyborg on that fight, but I think it's not gonna be not an easy fight for her because their last fight went I don't know if it was 2 or 3 rounds. But it was a pretty tough fight. So I'm picking her to win that fight. And I think that she will obviously get her momentum back. She already is starting to get it. I just don't know whether she will be the big star that she's supposed to be. Because it sounds like the UFC still, they didn't say anything about it. Dana White publicly didn't say anything about her fight. She is supposed to be the number 1 or 2 best pound for pound fighter in the world, right there with Ronda Rousey. So we don't know yet if the UFC is gonna they're gonna have a featherweight division or not. But the thing is that Cyborg is back. She's not taking the substances anymore, obviously, and it showed in this fight that. Even her not taking the substances, and even with the year off, she is still the beast that she is. Undefeated. Obviously, her previous fight, the one that she had a no contest, but actually she lost her first fight that was back in 2005. But since then she went undefeated. So she is for real, and I hope that she gets in the UFC in the near future.
Ben?
Yeah. Yes, she made such a statement with Fiona, just on the stand-up, just completely outclassing her. There was nothing Fiona could do, or she barely even got a shot off or landed, one punch. And Christine Santos just, picked her apart on the stand-up. Fiona couldn't take her down. She was stuck. And I'd just like to say what a fantastic stoppage it was by, I think it was Big John McCarthy reffing that fight. And it just showed that a fighter doesn't have to be knocked out for a ref to stop the fight. The ref could see that Fiona wasn't doing anything. She was just, yes, she was staying on her feet. Yes, she wasn't knocked out, but she was getting battered, and he came in and stepped in so well, and I just think that was a great call by the ref. But as far as what's next for Cyborg, it's kind of a shame that they're both Cyborg and UFC have sort of no interest in each other, because she would be great in the UFC, and I think if, or maybe the case is when she wins the Invicta title, she's going to be a very long reigning champion. And unless she gets unless the UFC reconsider and get her in there, it's going to kind of be a shame that you don't see any of these sort of super fights that we all look forward to, like Cyborg versus Rousey or something.
Yeah, watching her on the Invicta card, you seem to, and for a while she was out for a year, and you seem to forget who she was. And then with the whole thing with the substance and stuff, you forget what phenomenal fighter she is. I can basically say she's probably like the Tyson of the female fighting. She has one loss against Erica Pius, like you said, for a submission double knee on her first show on May 17, 2005. But, she beat another one that was on there, was Vanessa Porto. And after that, she just, continued up the ladder, and she only has that one no contest because of the substance abuse for the testosterone. But with Fiona, the way I could best describe this fight is they basically threw a person in a lion's cage that had no idea how ferocious this lion was. It looks like they never fed this lion for a while, and she was going out for the kill. And Fiona tried her best. I mean, she did her damnedest to try to do something, but when you have somebody like Cyborg and just the phenomenal speed and power that she has, and the velocity that she has with her swings and everything else, she's just a crisp, good striker, hands down. One of the best strikers you'll see in the female area. You have, like, when we'll talk about later, Jessica Penne and Michelle Watterson, who is just a jiu-jitsu grudge match between those two. But with Cyborg, it would be an absolutely intriguing fight, and it brings it up again. Will Ronda Rousey and Chris Cyborg ever happen again? Because I think people want to see that. They want to see two different styles competing and two caliber fighters competing for a title. I mean,
yeah. The thing with Cyborg that you can't forget is that all her wins, even on big shows, were not like wins by decision or like Ronda. That the only place that Ronda has an advantage is on the ground. If she gets a striker that can really stand and bang, I mean, it obviously will. I mean, I'm not saying that she's not a good stand-up fighter. I'm saying that it will not be as easy as her fights are on the ground. And the thing with Ronda also is that Ronda always in all of her fights, she is like 2 times the size of her opponent. And she actually used to fight at featherweight. So for her to fight Cyborg, I don't know why they make it such a big deal, because obviously Cyborg cuts a lot of weight for to be as featherweight. But Rousey already she cut weight to be on featherweight. It's not like it was her natural weight. And then she cut extra weight to make bantamweight. So a fight with Cyborg, it would be. I mean, I'll say it and I'll say it again. I think that Cyborg is the best female fighter in the world, hands down. The thing with the fight with Ronda Rousey, the way that I look at it is that the fighters that Ronda Rousey has fought, they are not complete fighters. They're all fighters that have some wins by decision, some losses, and not really experienced like Cyborg is. Cyborg fights since 2005. She is a black belt in Muay Thai under Rafael Cordero from Shoot Box, now Kings MMA. That he is the first ever coach to all big Muay Thai fighters that you think of: Shogun Rua, Vanderlei Silva, Anderson Silva. You got now the Fabricio Verdun in Kings MMA, Renato Babalu Sobral, and the list goes on and on. So you have also, she's a brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu under André Galvão. So because not to take anything away from any black belts or any even brown belts that train with another kind of coaches, there are a lot of fighters that they only get the high level belts because they are on the big shows. So it's different when you train with a multiple world champion like André Galvão, and she's a brown belt at Jiu-Jitsu. So it wouldn't be a easy fight for Ronda Rousey.
She's a purple belt. I'm just looking right now. She actually competed in the International Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Federation World Champion Jiu-Jitsu Championship in June of 2012, and she won Maya Malaton in submission armbar, then Hillary Urim by point, and then Lena Lukanen by points. And then not only that, she also competed in 2011 and in the championships, and she got a purple belt. She got her purple belt in 2009.
She got her brown belt. She got her purple belt from Cristiano Marcelo in 2009. Then she got her brown belt under André Galvão in 2013.
Okay, She's a brown belt, so next year she'll probably compete in these submission grappling or the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Championships as a brown belt. But that being said, is that she is a very skilled opponent on the floor and probably a danger to Ronda Rousey as well.
Yeah, and the thing is also with her size and strength, it will not be that easy to take Cyborg down. So that's the big thing with the fight, because we never saw Ronda test the deep waters for her to get for her to fight a really good wrestler. Also because the female style of fighting, it's not that grinding style that they will. It will be hard for women's MMA to have those kind of wrestlers like, who knows, like John Fitch or Kenny Velasquez and stuff, Daniel Cormier. It will be hard for that. And I mean, to get a fighter like Cyborg that Chuck Liddell style, that sprawl and bang, I mean, it would be crazy. I mean, that fight would be a huge fight. I mean, I always pray for that fight to happen. Always.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Ronda Rousey, she trusts and believes in her ground game so much that she is actually very reckless on the ground when it comes to giving up her back to opponents. She did it twice with Miesha Tate and Liz Carmouche, and if she was to do it to someone with such highly skilled grappling as Chris Cyborg, it may not be a good choice. So Ronda's gonna have to take it to the ground because she wouldn't be able to stand. But like both you guys are saying, like when she does get it to the ground, she's also in dangerous waters if she doesn't respect Santos's ground game.
Yeah, so
exactly.
There is our thought about Cyborg. Welcome back, Cyborg. MMA has missed you, and now we're absolutely thrilled that you're back and winning spectacular fashion. I think she's the best striker in the female. I think she is the best pound-for-pound fighter. Ronda Rousey has a 8-0 record, but look at what she's accomplished. I mean, they both accomplished a lot of stuff from judo, from Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Let's pray that this happens in the near future. Mm-hmm. All right, so what we're going to be doing, ladies and gentlemen, is we're going to be calling Doug Marshall, or Doug the Rhino Marshall, Bellator's recent winner of the tournament for the is it lightweight or light heavyweight? Lightweight.
Middleweight.
Oh, middleweight. I apologize. Middleweight. So we're going to be talking to him for a bit. Let's go ahead and call him. Let's see what's going on. This is Doug the Rhino Marshall from Bellator.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 55930.
Well, let's talk a little bit more, and let me get him on the line, okay?
Yeah, sure. So Doug Marshall, a very colourful character in MMA that we're just trying to get on the line there. Bellator Season 8 middleweight tournament winner, going to fight Alexander Shlemenko, so obviously we've got a few questions about that to ask him. As well as that, he won a huge $100,000 check from that fight against Brett Cooper that he knocked out. So we look forward to having that interview once Hector established a line with him in a minute.
Yeah, so, big win for him. You guys didn't see Bellator is actually coming up. I mean, they're having some spectacular fights right now going on, and it's absolutely exciting to see them and see what they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
And he's also the former WEC light heavyweight champion. And then he lost to Brian Stan.
Yeah, and after that he decided to go once again. I talk about it, the Tachi Palace fight, and they're coming back, and he's telling me to call him back right now. So let's go ahead and call in Mr. Marshall.
Hello.
Hello, Mr. Marshall?
Jim.
Hey, this is Hector from Real Combat Media MMA Radio. First of all, thank you very much for taking the time to go ahead and do this little interview. We greatly appreciate it. And first of all, congratulations on your huge win last Thursday.
Oh, thanks, man. Thanks. I'm still kind of riding the adrenaline tidal wave right now. I'm all pumped up, and I don't even think it's really set in yet. That I'm the tournament champion.
So you're going to be fighting him in the summer, correct? For the belt?
Yeah, whenever they tell me to fight,
All right, so Doug, I have my international panel here. I have Ben Capocci from the UK, and I have Tercilio Cruz from Brazil. We're going to be asking you a couple questions. Hope it doesn't take too much of your time, but I'm going to go ahead and give the mic to Ben. Ben, go ahead.
Hi, Doug.
Okay, sounds good.
Doug, congratulations!
Yes.
Huge knockout win against Brett Cooper, who has like it was mentioned a lot. He has a tough chin, and you landed that hand and put him straight down. Your knockout power has been immense in your last few fights. How do you feel about your striking? Is it just getting better? Yeah.
Man, you know what? I've always known that I've had really good power. I think. With everything that happens that you learn, there's a learning curve, and I think everything right now is just hitting. I'm firing on all cylinders. I'm confident. My speed, my power, my cardio, my techniques. It's just all basically peaking right now, and I feel really good about it.
How did you feel during your run? And is it kind of hard to do this kind of the season? The way you have a fight every few months, or did you manage to deal with it well? And and how did that go for you?
Well, it really was. When they say that's the toughest tournament in sports, they aren't lying. We were fighting every 3 weeks. And, I've never done anything like that. Throughout my career, I've usually fought, 2 times a year, maybe 3 times in a year. It was really taxing on my body, but it kept me in really good shape. I don't think my cardio has ever been as good. As soon as we were done training or fighting Kalahos in my first Bellator knockout victory, they called me and said, hey, the tournament's starting. We're going to put you in. So basically, I trained for 6 months straight, or it was about 6 months straight, nonstop, staying on my diet and really pushing it. I got a few bumps and bruises during fights, during training camp, but it was nothing that I couldn't work through and overcome.
Yeah, you really showed that you were at your great peak there, and that you've got some great things to come. So your fight against Alexander Shlemenko coming up, are you just going to be looking to do the same? Can we all expect the same Doug Marshall? You're going to stand there and bang?
Well, I call it how I see it, and I shoot it from the hip. I'm going to knock this guy out.
Brilliant.
I hope that everyone underestimates me. I hope he underestimates me. I hope the media underestimates me, and they look past me, because that just really, truly fuels me. I love to be the underdog and have nothing to lose and everything to gain. I'm not going to switch up my game at all, just like I'm sure he's not going to switch up his game.
Are you doing anything different to train for this fight, or is it just like another fight, or have you switched some things around for the title shot?
No, I really don't see a huge reason to switch anything around. For the last fight, I brought in some really great wrestlers, Lionel and Nicholas Tierra. They're both, collegiate wrestlers, NCAA guys. To help me with my whizzer and things that Brett Cooper might do. So I really don't know who I'm supposed to bring in for Alexander Shlemenko to do 17 spinning back fists and back kicks at me one after another.
Well, that's awesome. And anyway, my final question, Doug. What are you going to do with that big-ass check for $100,000?
Man, you know what? I'd love to have some great, elaborate story of how I'm going to go blow it all in a party. But I'm actually looking to buy a house, for me and my little family, and awesome. Have my crib,
That's great. I'm very happy for you to win that and win that money. Thanks for answering my questions. I'm just going to pass you over to Tercilio now.
Okay, no problem.
Cheers, Doug.
Yeah.
What's up, dog? Congratulations again on your huge win. So, I was very impressed that you came. You came so strong you can call it a big loss. When you lost to Zay Galaxy in that fight. It was a really back and forth fight. And I was really impressed with the way that you handled the situation, because there are a lot of guys that when they lose, they go on a losing streak and stuff. But you just came back from it, started knocking guys out, and then obviously won the championship. So I was wondering, you're 37 now. You've been fighting for 10 years. So you really feel that you're hitting your peak now?
Well, I really find it hard to actually call it my peak, but I'm feeling better than I've ever felt. My confidence is back up. When I fought Zel Glasic, there were so many extenuating circumstances to that fight that I really don't even. I kind of just shrugged that fight off my shoulders. I'm a middleweight. I make 185 pounds every single fight. I've never missed a weight. Zell for that fight was 196 pounds. So he immediately, weighed in 11 pounds overweight. And if that fight would have happened in the United States, they wouldn't even have let that fight happen. But once again, I'm not going to make excuses. Hey, he caught me in that fight, but I shrugged it off. Being a fighter, I think you have to have a really short memory. After a victory, you can't live in the glory too long, and get too big and think you're that good. And also in a loss, you can't dwell on it and sit around and cry yourself to sleep at night. You got to move on and just keep pushing towards that next fight.
Yeah. So you'll have the same game plan as always to Alexander?
Yeah. You know what? He's a really, really tough guy. I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change who I am. I'm going to come out, throwing some heavy leather. I'll make sure that my cardio is there, and I'll be able to go 5-minute rounds if need be. You know, he's fought some really, really tough guys, but I really don't think anybody's hit him on the chin like the Rhino's going to.
Yeah, for sure. So, but do you think that his experience will be a factor in this fight, since he has already like 56 fights?
You know what? I've taken a look at his record, and if you guys look at his record and break it down, he's fought numerous people 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
I'm really not going to put too much in there. Of course, it's a lot of experience. You know, he's a clutch player. I'm a clutch player. He's a champion. I'm a former champion, and I'm going to be the new Bellator middleweight champion.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a fight for sure. And one last question before I pass you over to Hector. You talked that you had bumps and bruises, but any serious injuries coming out of fighting 3 fights already this year?
You know what? Biggest injury right now is I thought my hand was broken after the Brett Cooper fight, but I went ahead and I did get x-rays and went to the doctor. They said it's not broken, but it's a severe sprain. So I'm not sure what that's going to, how far that's going to push my fight back. But, you know, hey, I can't even wipe my ass with my right hand right now, so there's no way I can train.
So, but you're expecting to fight when is the fight expected to happen? I have no idea. I haven't even been contacted by Bellator. You know, Bjorn Rebney was aware that my hand is injured. So as soon as my hand gets better and I'm able to get a full training camp in, then I'm sure the fight will be scheduled. Okay, very nice to hear from you. I'll pass you over to Hector. Hector?
Yeah. Hey, Doug. First of all, I want to tell you, I'm kind of a huge fan of yours. I live in Hanford, so I watched you a couple times at the Leemore at the Tachi Palace fights and supported you all the times over there.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
How is it from fighting from the Tachi and the WEC to now fighting in the Bellator? You know, bigger lights. Well, it's a lot bigger lights than the WEC was, correct? Yeah.
I think. I think this is the biggest organization that I've fought for. You know, they treat me really, really well. I'm not really one that goes in there and, like the deer in the headlights and, this is a huge fight and freeze up. You know, it's just another day at the office, man. You know what I mean? I step in there and basically I hit cruise control and I just let the Rhino do all the work.
All right. Do you still live in the Central California area?
I do, man. I live in Visalia, California.
All right. How is it finding training partners and everything else in the smaller area of Central California?
Well, you know what? We don't really have a problem with that here at Elite Team in Visalia. We got a ton of great guys, world champion jiu-jitsu players, good solid Muay Thai guys, wrestlers. But when I need to step my game up a little bit, I go down to King's MMA and Muay Thai in Huntington Beach with Master Rafael Cordero. I'm actually his. I'm a black belt under him in Muay Thai, his first American black belt.
Oh, congratulations! I didn't know that.
Yeah.
All right, and let me see. What else do we have for you before we let you go? I like to ask everybody, how did you get this name? How did you get the Rhino? How did you get this name?
Man, you know what? Growing up in the streets of Visalia with my buddies and whatnot, we get into a lot of fights, and I've never really been known for taking a step backwards, and I do it like a Rhino. I just come right at you, look at a charge and impose my will. And so it just kind of stuck with me.
All right. Well, we'd like to thank you for taking the time of calling into the show. We greatly appreciate it. We wish you nothing but the best of luck. I will be cheering you on for the flamenco fight. I always support my local fighters out here, and you're probably one of the bigger ones out here, and I congratulate you for everything you have done, Mr. Marshall.
Great, man. Thank you. Thank you.
Right.
I really appreciate it.
All right, no problem. You take it easy and have a great night, okay?
All right, guys. See you later.
Thanks
a lot, dog.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Rhino. Doug the Rhino Marshall just called into the show. Like I said, I'm a great believer in supporting your local fighters. The Rhino, like I said, I've seen him tons of times at the Tachi Palace. I'm excited that the Tachi Palace is back again. For people that don't know about this organization, these are the ones that brought you the big bangers like Ian McCall, Demetrius Johnson, and all these great flyweights and featherweights. They got another one is for anybody out in Central Valley that want to go see some fights in Visalia, go ahead and check out 559 Fights. They happen this Saturday. If you guys want more information, just hit me up. I'll go ahead and send you to the official people of that place, and they can give you some instructions on how to get there and everything else. Support anywhere you're at. Support your local MMA fighters and support your local circuits. So we're going to do a little commercial, and after that, we're going ahead and break down Invicta and UFC on Fuel, and then in the end, we're going to go ahead and recap or go ahead and give our predictions, and hopefully Tercilio doesn't win us on this one again. So let me see. Let me go to my Blog Talk tab, and here we go, people. Commercial time, and then we'll be back in a minute and 32 seconds. Enjoy. This is Real Combat Media Radio. Check us out at realcombatmedia.com. While you're there, check out the Feed the Poor link on the bottom of every article, and you can send a donation if you're interested. That is, once again, on the bottom of every article as well as on the top of the website. If you are an MMA, boxing, or fitness business and interested in sponsoring our website or radio podcast, send us an email. Advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Once again, that is advertising at realcombatmedia.com. Make sure to check out the Real Combat Media MMA and boxing store at the top of the menu at realcombatmedia.com. We carry a collection of products. We have the Cardio Mask, which is excellent for all fighters, endurance athletes, and serious fitness enthusiasts. Once you are in the Real Combat Media store, click on the banner on that page. We also carry Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is a great and natural product which activates your brain's neurotransmitters and helps you think more clearly, which improves brain function. You can also purchase the world's healthiest plant protein, which comes from hemp. There are many other products on the online store. Click on the On It banner at the Real Combat Media store, and you can purchase Alpha Brain and other health products. Use the discount code Real Combat Media, and you will receive 10% off at the checkout store on the On It. That is ONNIT on the banner at the Real Combat Media store. Buckle up. Here we go. Let's get this show started. All right, we are back again, 8:18. We're going to go ahead and break down the main card for Invicta 5. And let me bring up my little notes, my little cheat notes, because we're going to break them down for you. And this is what it was all about. Friday, I said. Last Friday, one hell of a show on Ustream. I cannot wait so I can see it on a normal-sized television instead of my laptop. Pretty excited about the whole way that the event went. It went smoothly, like I said, production-wise. They had I can't remember his name, but they had the commentator from Strikeforce there. They had King Mo as well. King Mo is all right, like I said, that old feeling of Strikeforce kind of gave it made me happy because I do sincerely miss Strikeforce. Highlights of the fights. If you guys did not see it, Beck Hyatt versus Jasmika Clive. Submission at 3:30 with an armbar. Hell of a fight. One of the best fights there as well. We had the one as well as. Let me see. Well, let's talk about. Should we go from the Jennifer Maia to Ziola Gurgel fight, gentlemen?
We could talk about the Rose Namajunas, that is Pat Barry's girlfriend, fight.
Oh, yeah.
And then we could talk about from the Sarah Kaufman fight until the main event.
Okay, so Rose was a hell of a person. Didn't take that much to go ahead and do what she needed to do. Ben, why don't you go ahead and break down this fight for us? It was a strawweight fight.
A great fight. Rose Namajunas came out and went straight at Kathina, and then they grappled up. Rose just grabbed an arm and went for the flying armbar and finished it in only 12 seconds. One of the greatest submission finishes I've seen in a long while. Fantastic flying armbar, and as soon as she landed it, you could see the fight was over. Rose was very emotional, and so was her boyfriend, Pat Barry, and it was great to see that, sheer emotion and joy from Rose. And a really great fight to kick off a fantastic event.
Yeah, that was a great way to start the whole shebang. There was one earlier, but I think they just showed it started from the Rose fight. Submission, like you said, by flying armbar. This kind of thing defied what you were going to expect for the rest of the night. After that, one of the other ones that I saw that absolutely liked, and it was a bantamweight fight by Miriam Nakamoto versus Yasmin Duke. KO in the first round. This girl went guns a-blazing and did not give Jessica any room for setting up any kind of counter strikes or anything else. Kind of like a cyborg, Miriam just went, attacked, and KO'd by a knee. So she was striking, duking it out, and then all of a sudden a little bit of a plum, and bang, there she goes, and it was done. It was a done deal. Other ones, let's talk about, you know what? The Jennifer Maia and Ziola Gurgel was basically, Ziola is a great fighter, fought Jennifer Maia, and, really Jennifer Maia just kind of took it out to her, and even the judges agreed with me. She gave no space for Ziola to transition. She just kept her on the cage, kept her in the clinch. There was really no spacing for Ziola to do anything. She was always in a dangerous position, and Jennifer Maia completely dominated her, and I congratulate Jennifer Maia. A huge win, especially beating Ziola Gurgel, who was once a flyweight champion as well. So, gentlemen, Sarah Kaufman, Leslie Smith, split decision. I was not impressed with this fight in Sarah Kaufman. I'm sorry. Tercilio, go ahead and break this fight down for us, please.
Well, yeah, I wasn't impressed at all. First, she came off that loss with Ronda Rousey in Strikeforce, and her previous fights before the title fight, they were all by it was she beat Liz Carmouche, but it was a decision, but not that exciting of a fight. And her fight against Alexis Davis, it was a majority decision. So from those fights, you see that she's not a very exciting fighter. And actually, from her record, she has 6 decisions already. So in this fight, it was obviously not a good fight for you to get amped up about it. But I think the Cyborg fight made up for it.
Yeah, you know what? With this, I'm going to let Ben talk a little bit about it. I'm going to tell you after Ben talks why I was not impressed at all with this fight.
Yeah, well, Sarah Kaufman should have been able to walk through a lot more and really shown off more of her skills than she did. Kind of just did enough to win, and it wasn't an impressive fight. I feel like Sarah should have gone in and showed that she was in a league when instead she didn't really show anything.
Yeah, so Sarah Kaufman played the play it safe card. Basically kept her range, picked her punches, moved around, kind of just really like I said, I don't think I could say it any other way, is she completely played this card safe. Knowing that she's a UFC fighter, I think that's what she wanted to do. She did not want to lose a fight in Invicta and then being still on the roster. And I guess the way they said it was they were borrowed by the UFC, like Sarah Kaufman. Zayula Gurgel was borrowed from the UFC, so was Julia Budd. So, I don't think she wanted to lose, and the best way she could do is just pick her fights, do her distance. She has a longer reach advantage, so she had that distance control the whole time. Really just a technical fight, and that's what she went out for. Not impressed. It was kind of a stale way to even show Sarah Kaufman. Unfortunately, her being a UFC fighter, you expect a little bit more and have people wonder why she's in the UFC, and instead you get this kind of fight. I apologize if Sarah Kaufman finds this, but for me, it was a no-go.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we talked about this. We'll talk a little bit more about this. Fiona Muxlor versus Cyborg.
Yeah,
and
like we talked on that fight, it was a pretty easy fight for Cyborg. A very exciting fight. Obviously because Fiona is a warrior, she didn't quit at any point. The interesting thing about that fight is that there were a lot of fights that the first time that they would get hit from Cyborg, they would go down. And possibly not even because of them. It would be because of their own chin, basically, that couldn't take the damage. But she was a great warrior, and after the fight, she was very respectful. She even even posted a photo to Twitter. Did you guys see it?
Yes, she did posted a lot of pictures. She was with what's his name? Not Big Dan, but
Big John.
Big John. She took pictures with Cyborg, with Tito, with Roger Huerta, and everybody else. So she was happy.
Yeah, and there was the funny picture that she posted that she had the legend saying the prescription saying that you don't need Botox when you have Cyborg punching your face the whole time.
That's free Botox, and you paid for the Botox.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead. We have a couple minutes. Let's break down the. Let me see. Barb Hancock and Vanessa Porto. What a hell of a fight! And this was for the belt for the flyweight division. Vanessa Porto was trying her best, but Barb Hancock just 1 to 2 steps ahead of her, and Barb Hancock completely took it to unanimous decision, close decision, but I would still give it to Barb Hancock. If you saw the fight, it was a spectacular fight. Did you guys watch that one?
I'm very ashamed to say I didn't watch that fight, unfortunately.
Yeah, it was a great fight. Let's talk about this one. Congratulations to Barb Hancock. And hey, Vanessa Porto, she liked our show. I think she also took an invite. So, Tercilio, I want you to tell her thank you from us in Portuguese.
And I'll actually say a good thing for her. Vanessa, você tá escutando aí? Não se preocupe com essa derrota, não. Você vai voltar mais forte na outra luta. E esperamos lhe ter aqui brevemente no show. Muito obrigado. I just said to her that for her not to worry about the coming stronger and support her on the show soon.
Yeah, very soon. Now, Ben, take us down to the Michelle Waterson versus Jessica Penne fight and break it down for us.
We have. I can tell you, we're getting a bit of echo going from our mic and out yours, I think. So
yeah,
if you
it's
can
fine here. I was just texting. It's fine. It's fine on my side. So.
Okay, great. Michelle Waterson, Jennifer Penne, fantastic Brazilian match. Go back and I thought Capone took Wilson down, I was hoping that the judges would mark it for Waterston's great work of her back. She was actually more active on her back than when Jessica was on top in round one. So I kind of was intrigued to see if it went to decision, if they would have given that first round to her, but I'm not sure because it ended with Michelle Waterman catching a fantastic armbar after she got in an armbar herself. And that brought me to a little point I wanted to make to you guys and ask you something. When Jessica Penne got Michelle Wilson in that armbar, and her arm looked like hyperextended, it's kind of a tricky situation because Jessica obviously doesn't want to break Michelle Wilson's arm. So should there be something on there that Michelle's not gonna, if she doesn't get out, like her arm's gonna break. But then again, Jessica doesn't want to break the arm. She's not going to give Frank Mir. So what do you guys think? What do you guys think about that situation when the arm is hyperextended and nothing's done, just left there?
You know what? Tercilio's having some issues trying to hear you. With the arm, what was the question again? I'm sorry, Ben.
I was just saying, when the arm is hyperextended and the opponent doesn't want to break the arm, I wonder what should be done in that position there, because Pele could have won if she just if she kept pushing forward with her hips, but obviously she into her opponent like that. So maybe the ref stop the fight when the arm sort of pushed out and you're in that situation.
Yeah, you know what? With that kind of situation, the ref should be skilled enough, and I think it was Dean was refereeing that fight, correct?
Yeah.
So he's skilled, and he's also been a fighter, and I think he knows when that arm is out, probably in danger of being snapped, and when to go ahead and stop the hyperextension and just go ahead and call it a tap out without tapping out. I mean, in the end, the ref's always going to look at the health and the benefit of that fighter, and the fighter's not wanting to tap out, but the extension of it, can lead to a serious break. I think, especially for Herb Dean, I think he's very wise about knowing when to stop it.
For the point I was making, that the opponent, even if Jessica caught that arm, she could have finished the fight if she kept pushing with her hips. But because she held it in that position, because she didn't want to break her arm, it gave Wilson a lot of time to position herself to get her arm out of the armbar.
Yeah, and for people that didn't see this fight, let me tell you something. This was basically a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu match for the entire 5 rounds, and that's nothing bad about what I'm saying about it. Was a spectacular fight. You can tell that both of these women wanted this win. Mm-hmm. And Michelle Waterston was highly underrated going in this fight. There's no way Jessica Penne is going to completely devastate her. You look at everything else, everybody's talking, Jessica Penne is going to destroy her, this and that, and she's not good on the ground. Once Jessica Penne gets her on the ground, it's done for Michelle Waterston. And holy crap, did she shut everybody up in the first round and just continued. She showed her skills on the ground and just kind of just destroyed her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I actually picked Jessica Penne to win that fight. I thought she was thought to be the more complete fighter, and she looked very good in her last 3 fights. 2 wins by submission and a knockout. And I know it wasn't going to be an easy fight for either one of the fighters, but I actually picked Jessica Penne, and I got impressed by Michelle
Waterston, yeah.
Yeah, her work on the ground.
Let's do this because we're going to be running out of time, and we never want to do that. Once again, congratulations to Invicta 5. Great success, huge fight. Can't wait for the next one. Chris Cyborg is, of course, going to be on that one, and I think everybody's going to be very excited about watching that fight as well. Now, the show that nobody wanted to watch. We're talking about Fuel 9, and man, was that a complete great lineup. And Larir Latifi, wow, impressive. Even after a defeat, he still impressed me. Let's break it down. Let's go from Akira to Robbie. So Akira Corazon versus Robbie Peralta. Go ahead and break it down for us. Who broke it down last?
I'll go ahead.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so this fight, I think we all sort of got wrong. We were expecting Robbie Peralta to go out with a much better striking. As you know, by looking at his record, he's not been out in the past. But something I wasn't aware of was that Akira was training with the fantastic boxing coach that Frankie Edgar has, and he looked like you could tell that he had a lot of Frankie Edgar style to it. He was moving really well, fantastic head movement. His hands were like looking fluid. He was quick, and it just looked like a completely different Akira. And I think it took Robbie Peralta by surprise as well. I really enjoyed this fight. It was a great just boxing, striking match, and it was a really impressive showcase of Akira's new boxing skill.
Yeah, Ben Tercilio, what did you think about this fight?
Well, this fight obviously I picked Akira, but I wasn't taking anything away from Robbie Peralta. And I mean, that fight could have gone either way. It was a really close fight, but obviously Akira won the fight. But the thing is, I don't know, probably one of the things I thought to giving him the most advantage was basically because he was fighting at home. And the last time he fought at home was in Sweden. It was only 2011. So with the whole Ultimate Fighter thing going on that he went through and fighting in England, and who knows? I mean, I had the feeling that he was going to win the fight. He didn't win in an impressive fashion, but obviously he did win the fight. So he got the win, obviously. So in the other fight after that was Diego Brandão against Pablo Garza. Like I said before the fight, I mean, basically going to every fight, I can't see Diego Brandão losing any fight because the guy goes in for the kill every time. He doesn't grind out decisions. It's always action-packed fights, and obviously sometimes he loses his rhythm and stuff. But I mean, he looked awesome in this fight. He looked awesome. Pablo Garza was thought to be a big challenge for him.
Yeah,
it looked kind of easy for Diego.
Yeah, me and Ben had sided against you about Diego Brandão, and me and him chose Pablo Garza on that one.
I think it came down to Pablo Garza's haircut. he kept flicking the hair out of his eyes. That's my excuse.
Yeah, he was going emo on this one, I guess, with the hair in his face.
Yeah, but it was. I was expecting Pablo Garza to keep away from Diego's, big right hand and use his leg that he was doing for the most part of the fight. But then Brandão started to find, what was working, what wasn't working. Got the takedown and went straight in with the arm triangle choke before Pablo, had a chance to get into his guard. And I was really surprised by this because Pablo Garza has an outstanding guard. He's got those long legs. He can slap a triangle on from nowhere. So fair dues to Diego for pulling off that victory.
Since you're already speaking, Ben, break us down the Brad Pickett and Mike Easton fight.
Oh, I think I've only just got my voice back from this fight, so I can break it down. Brad Pickett, a huge fan favourite in England. Everyone was rooting for him. I certainly lost my voice because I was shouting at the TV so much. And it was just one of those fantastic matches that you're on the edge of your seat, looking back and forward. They're both spinning ahead together, and anything could happen. Brad Pitt's rest game absolutely surprised me so much, and Mike Easton, who's not been taken down a lot of his fights. I think he may have been taken down before. And Brad Pickett, the Englishman, and the British, never known for good wrestling, and he took down Mike Tyson a couple times when he was struggling in stand-up. I gave this fight to Brad Pitt as well. I thought his boxing just landed a little bit past Mike Tyson and swung all the way to the finish in one of the best fights I've seen in a long time, and just a fantastic boxing match. Like, apart from when Brad Pitt got a couple of takedowns, if you tuned in, you would have seen just such a high-level, technical, fantastic boxing match. Mike Tyson brought it and looked fantastic. Brad Pickett as well was top of his game.
All right, we're gonna skip right over the Matt Mitrione and Philip DeFries. If you want to know, 19 seconds KO punch. Matt Mitrione met in the middle, went to the corner of Phil DeFries and just launched him with a right hand, and it was a done deal. So let's go ahead and talk about the lightweight Ross Pearson and Ryan Couture, which could have been the main event, and it would have been fine with me. Ross Pearson, Ryan Couture, I think I said it on Facebook. Ross Pearson gave a rude introduction to Ryan Couture into the UFC.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Ross Pearson was like very patient, and he looked like a very experienced fighter in this fight that he is. Ryan Couture has a very annoying and unique style to him, and I was kind of worried because it was taking Ross Pearson a while to figure out Ryan, but he just stayed patient, he stayed calm, he didn't get frustrated, and then in that second round he figured out Ryan more, and you could see he was moving with Ryan instead of chasing after Ryan, and then he landed that big left hook, a few more punches, and knocked out Ryan Couture. Fantastic finish, and Ross Pearson, I want to see him get a top 10 guy. I thought he looked fantastic in that fight, and he looked like a really experienced fighter that, knew exactly what he was doing and what he had to do. Yeah,
so Ross Pearson, he, like you said, he found the rhythm of Ryan Couture, went with it, stayed away from Ryan Couture's power side. Ryan Couture just looking for any double legs, any legs, just trying to grab him and clinch him, kind of his father's old style, I might even say, an homage to his father, where he would just kind of grind him away on the cage and just clinch him. Ross Pearson wasn't going to have it. Like you said, the first round, he just kind of tested him, kind of really got his rhythm, and then not even too short in 3:45 in the second round, just bombed on Ryan Couture and told him, welcome to the UFC.
Yeah, and the thing with this fight also is that Ryan Couture, he obviously fights like his father, but we can call it like in a kind of a worse way than his father to be that boring style. That he chases the guy to clinch them up in a cage and then just outpoints them. And the kind of theory that they have in the Extreme Couture, I don't like it very much because it makes for that style of fighting. That is like, they say the thing that is like, don't look for the knockout. The knockout will come. Yeah. But it's not always like that. If it's always like that, you're only going to win decisions. And then when you get a knockout, it will be like a TKO, like from punches that the guy is not out, but the referee has to stop the fight. So I'm not taking anything away from that, but it's kind of a boring style. And the thing is that Range, he had that style to clinch with the guys and down stuff. But he was a mixed martial artist. He could do everything. He could also stand up guys. He in the fight with Sylvia, when the fight started, he clipped Sylvia right away. With fight with Chuck Liddell, he would stand straight with him at times. So in that fight, Ross Pearson showed what experience is all about. That's what I think from that. He showed he didn't get frustrated at any. He waited for the right. And like Ben said, I was kind of getting scared that the fight would end, and who knows if the judge would give this decision to Ryan Couture just to hold him and couldn't even take him down. Yeah. But just to hold it, we never know what to expect from the judges these days. Yeah. But Ross did a great job of finishing him on the second.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you. When I saw Ryan Couture, he fought completely different style than what his father did. It looked like everything changed after the KJ Noons fight. I mean, if you looked at him, he was more of a striker and a tight kicker when he first started, when the Challenger Series and everything else. And then eventually he started adapting that same style that his father has. So I think it's from the KJ Noons fight from now, his style has kind of adapted to more of that safety Ryan Couture, his father's style of fighting. Yeah. So if you guys don't believe me, check it out on YouTube. Check out his old fights. He was a completely different style of fighter until the KJ Noons fight. Real quick, let's go ahead and talk. Let's talk real quick. Gegard Mousasi versus Ilir Latifi. Everyone was saying, don't even watch this card. It's not even worth it. The UFC just ruined it. You know what? I was kind of like that, and I have to apologize to Dana White because this fight was actually a real fun fight. And I think he knew what he expected out of this fighter. And not only that, the fighter knew what he wanted to do. And I think he kind of knew that there was a slim chance he wasn't going to win, but he still was going to go out there and give it his all. And after this fight, Dana White said he will fight again in the UFC. And I commend him for doing that because Latifi did make a great fight for Gegard Mousasi. Not confirming what kind of injury he has, but he does have an injury. He said it's a knee injury. Yeah, it's a knee injury, but he didn't want to specify. There's only one real knee injury, and that could be torn cartilage on the ACL. I mean, that's the only one you could really think about that would take him out for months. It's happened to GSP. There's not any other kind of knee injury other than that.
Well, he could have a meniscus like Cigano had with Cain Velasquez.
Yeah.
For meniscus that could take him out for only 1 month to 2 months.
Or he can also have where there's no more cartilage between the two knees and riding on bone. So that could be the other thing he could have. So we're going to figure out what's going on. Gegard Mousasi did a spectacular performance coming into the UFC. He kind of picked his opponent apart, walked him around, really showing his striking. I love that striking that he has where he has that distance. You really don't see it that much. You see it on John Bones Jones is the great one who uses that distance where he's always walking away from the power hand and just kind of picking his fighter apart, kind of relaxes, goes back at it. But then again, he was protecting that knee. I think if Latifi would have known that knee was, he would have done what he did in the last minutes of the third round.
Yeah, but the thing with Latifi is that we obviously ask ourselves why he didn't, since he's a great wrestler, why he didn't try to take Mousasi down the whole fight. Because in the whole fight, he shot like only 3 times. But he said in the post-fight interview that he cut 27 pounds in 3 days. So man, that's a lot. He said that he didn't. In the fight he didn't have that energy to take him down. So he did it. He tried his best. And I mean, the guy's a warrior. So, I mean, he got the call on like a Monday. He headed the training camp for Alexander already. He was with his family in another city, Sweden. And the UFC called him like on Monday, and then they said, it's not sure. We probably put you in. It was not sure. And then he said, right when he got the call, it's depending if he would get or not the fight. He already went back to Stockholm, Sweden. It was Stockholm, right?
Yes.
Yes. He went right back to Stockholm. It was an 8-hour drive for him, and he started training. I mean, even if he wouldn't take the fight, he was going to be ready. He was just waiting for the opportunity. So he got the opportunity. And also props to Gegard Mousasi because he had nothing to gain from this fight. He was training for a tall striker, and then he gets a short, really strong wrestler. So he had a lot of great fights here on like a 3-4 day notice. And also to injured knee. And you're lucky got the call on the Wednesday to fight on Saturday. And then he started making the cut and lost 27 pounds 3 days. So that says much about his will to become a UFC champion, to make a run. And I'm really excited to see his next fight, to see him at his full.
Yeah, I'll just be really quick because we've got to break down the Ultimate Fighter finale. I just want to say, fantastic underdog story. None of us really knew about Latifi, had any emotional connection to him, but then when that fight started, it all sort of got behind, everyone, I think, that was watching got behind him, was rooting for him to land those punches, and whenever he did land a punch, the whole crowd went wild. He came out to Rocky, and I think he fought a lot like Rocky as well. He got beaten up, he landed a couple of punches, and he lost a decision that he had nothing at all to be ashamed of. And he's definitely very deserving of having another shot in the UFC. Absolutely fought his heart.
Yes, and let's go quickly, and I mean quickly, to our predictions. We only have a couple minutes left, so let's go ahead and do this. Let me get my notes, and we already know, let me see. So, let's go, you want to go from the Cole Miller fight?
I don't mind.
You can go from that fight.
Cole Miller, Bart Olechevsky, 18-7, 36-6. You guys know anything about these fighters?
Well, I'm gonna pick Bart in this fight because Cole Miller lost his last fight, and he lost to Nam Fan. And I mean, since the guys that he had beaten already, he beat Dan Lozon, Ross Pearson, C.J. O'Brien, George Burgell, a lot of Leonard Garcia. He beat a lot of big fighters, and then to lose to Nam Fan, a guy that is basically used to know for losing fights that, I mean, they're not very exciting. I mean, I think that's not good. And since Bart has already 36 wins, he already KO'd Tyson Griffin. He beat Anthony Pettis. I mean, and he looked actually good in Diego's 25. I didn't think it was a really one-sided fight, so I'm giving that fight to him too hard.
See a difference?
Yeah. Both strikers, but I'm going for Bart Petrozelli as well. I think he's the best fighter to talk about, guy.
I think there's a no-brainer on this one. I think it's going to be a lopsided Bart Petrozelli on this one. So I think we're all going to go with that one. Travis Brown, Gabriel Gonzaga. Gabriel Gonzaga coming back from a win against Rothwell. What do you guys see? What do you guys? I know this is going to be one hell of a fight. I know that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Travis Brown, though, got this. In his last fight, he didn't seem the same. I think he injured his knee or something really quick.
Yeah.
But apart from that fight, he was on an absolute tear. I think Gabriel Gonzaga's been a bit up and down, but not really improving his skills since he's been in the UFC, from around 2005 time. So for me, I'm picking Travis Brown.
Well, yeah, for me, I'm obviously picking Travis Brown. I think he's gonna come really like a beast, looking like a beast in this fight because he hasn't had a loss, and even after the draw that he had with Congo, he came right back and KO Stephen Drew, beat Rob Broughton, and then beat Chad Briggs. And the fight that he lost to Antonio Silva, he had an injury on his knee, so he was not feeling good the whole fight. So with this fight, I'm taking Travis Brown. But if it goes to the ground, I'll give a definite an advantage to Gabriel Gonzaga.
Can't do that. You got to choose one. Travis Brown.
Yeah, I got Travis Brown this one.
I'm actually gonna go against you guys. I'm gonna go ahead and go for Gabriel Gonzaga. I think this guy has a lot more to losing again. I mean, he was in the UFC just because somebody else pulled out. They gave him the chance. He was out of the UFC for a while. I think he knows and how it feels to not be in the UFC. I think he's a lot more hungrier, talent-wise and skill-wise. Travis Brown is a beast, but Gabriel Gonzaga is one of those people you can't underestimate as well. He's done some spectacular things in the past. Hopefully he gets everything and his skill sets are back together. So I'm going to go ahead and give it to Gabriel Gonzaga just out of the hunger. Miesha Tate versus Kat Zingano. Let's go ahead and say what you. I think it's going to be lopsided on this one too.
I'm picking Kat Zingano all the way.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm going Miesha Tate.
Yeah, I'm going Miesha Tate. They've both got very rounded skill sets, but Miesha Tate's got a lot more experience. And in those skill sets, I think she beats Kat Zingano in all elements.
Yeah, Kat Zingano's a great fighter. Nothing to take away from her, but Miesha Tate is a whole different level of fighter than Kat Zingano. I like Kat Zingano, don't get me wrong. Miesha Tate, though, is just a warrior, a brute warrior, and I think she's going to outclass Kat Zingano and bring out a victor and be the one of the females on the Ultimate Fighter coaches. Uriah Faber. This, ladies and gentlemen, is what the whole UFC main event should look like at all times. Uriah Faber versus Scott Jorgensen. This is going to be one hell of a fun fight to watch. What do you guys have?
Can't wait. Both of these fights have very similar styles. They like stand and bang. They have fantastic striking. Yet also they both have brilliant wrestling. So I'm hoping that the wrestling is going to cancel each other out, and we're just going to see a great back and forth striking match. A lot like some of the other fights I mentioned. Uriah Faber, Scott Jorgensen, even though they do have the same skill set, Uriah Faber I think is a little bit better in both striking and grappling than Scott Jorgensen. But it's still going to be a great fight. I definitely think fight of the night's all over this. But I'm picking Uriah Faber.
Yeah, I'm picking Uriah Faber in this one. And the thing with this one, with Scott Jorgensen, that I think with him, that he against fighters that don't have big names, I think he will soften. But when he fights really like top 5 fighters, I don't know why, I think he doesn't feel comfortable and goes off. So he lost to Dominic Cruz, Renan Barral, and Eddie Wineland. But he has winning streaks against other guys. But I'm picking Uriah Faber in this one. I think.
All right. Tercilio,
I'm
going to cut you short because we got just a couple slight minutes left. Let me give mine. I love Scott Jorgensen. I love Uriah Faber. I loved the WEC. That was one of my favorite venues to watch of all times. Like I said, Doug Marshall's on there. That's why I like him as well. Here's the thing. Uriah Faber's a lot quicker than Scott Jorgensen. Scott Jorgensen is a great fighter, but skill-wise and quickness-wise, Uriah Faber has the upper hand. So Uriah Faber, it's a lopsided. Sorry, we can't disagree on this one, but Uriah Faber is my pick. Last one, it's not the main event, but it is the main event. And it is another Faber. Let's go ahead. Uriah Hall versus Calvin Gastelman. Uriah Hall for me. He's been a phenomenal beast in this whole thing, and I don't see nobody else taking him out. That's my final word.
I'm with Uriah Hall as well. Kevin Gastelman, a good young guy, but Uriah Hall is going to be a top-level fighter in the UFC.
Tercilio, real quick.
Yeah, Uriah Hall all the way, but it's going to be a hell of a fight.
All right. There you go. The UFC. 60 seconds. Stop, you British lady. Let me finish. It's a British lady from New Jersey, if that makes any sense. Okay, here we go. Ultimate Fighter finale, one of the best ones you want to watch. Where can you watch it? On FX in the States, Combate in Brazil, and UK it's going to be on the ESPN one, right?
Yeah.
ESPN, FX, Combate, don't miss it. We'll come back next week. I'm going to see if Gabriel Gonzaga pulls out the win. Good night, everybody. We'll be back for episode number 5. I might have a big surprise. I'll announce it later in the week of who our next interview is. Wish everybody has a good night. Hector, Screaming Rebels, www.screamingrebels.com. Tercilio?
Tercilio Cruz, Facebook, at Tercilio Cruz, Instagram, Twitter, at Tercilio Cruz.
Ben?
Thanks a lot for listening, guys. Ben Capocci on Facebook. Please tune in next week.
All right, there it is. We're leaving you. Bye.
Peace.